Early this morning, a massive fire tore through the Grenfell Tower apartment building in West London. At the time of the fire, hundreds, up to possibly 600, I've seen in some estimates, were believed to be in the apartment building, many of them trapped at least temporarily inside of it as the fire continued. It's believed to have broken out on one of the bottom floors, but quickly spread to engulf all 24 floors there, as you're seeing in those very difficult, I mean, that's just-
It's horrifying.
It's horrifying, yes, and I know that London, obviously, this has been their day, basically, is dealing with this unbelievable fire. Tragically, many did die already, and the number is expected to go up. The Metropolitan Police Commander there said, sadly, I can confirm that there are now 12 people that have died that we know of. This is going to be a long and complex recovery operation, and I do anticipate that the number of fatalities will sadly increase beyond those 12, possibly significantly higher. At the time, 40 fire trucks and more than 20 ambulances were sent to the scene. 68 patients were taken to 6 hospitals. Some people were able to go to hospitals on their own, and many are still in critical condition. Now, as this has been going on, as the fire was continuing to be put out, and now the search for either survivors or the mortal remains is going on, people are wondering what caused this? How did this absolutely terrible fire happen and spread so quickly? We do know that a major refurbishment was completed last year to that building. It's a multi-million-dollar refurbishment. The cause of the fire, not immediately known, but a tenant group had complained for years that the management company wasn't taking the threat of fire seriously. This is the Grenfell Action Group that wrote in 2013, residents experienced a period of terrifying power surges that were subsequently found to have been caused by faulty wiring, and that our attempts to highlight the seriousness of this event were covered up by that's the organization that maintains the building, and by borough officials. And there's been a lot of talk about the replacement of the cladding on the outside of the building, that it was replaced. Some people say it was mainly replaced to make the building look cosmetically more attractive, but that theoretically it could have made it more vulnerable to fire. That is simply something that's going around. We do not know if that had anything to do with how the fire spread.
So if it is found that faulty wiring was the cause of this fire, look, I think that it's just one of many examples that there are some regulations that matter, right? And so, if you put this in the US context, if you ever want to do any type of, let's say, refurbishment or remodeling or whatever in your home, you have to go get permits. And if you do electrical or plumbing work, you got to go get permits. And it's super annoying, right?
Yeah, why would this be on your mind now?
Anyway, it's super annoying, but look, there's a right way to do it, which is the legal way to do it, where you get the permits, and the permits are there for a reason, okay? It's to ensure that the work is done by a licensed professional. You're talking about electricity, you're talking about the potential for a disastrous fire, right? So regulations like that make sense. There's also the wrong way of doing it, where you don't take out the permits, you don't hire someone who's licensed, and then you take a gigantic risk, and don't take that risk. If you're a management company, you are putting so many lives at risk, and it just breaks my heart to know that if the faulty wiring is what caused this situation, breaks my heart that these people, just didn't care enough about the well-being of individuals living in that building to actually do the right thing.
Clearly criminal negligence. I mean, it says that there was complaints for years that the building was a potential fire hazard. I mean, it's crazy to look at the last century and see how much horrific, deadly fires really defined the century, and that bred, obviously regulations, and we don't see these things happen anymore. Like when the Oakland warehouse fire happened a couple months ago, it was so devastating because it was preventable.
Yes.
Because regulations are in place, and these people need to be held accountable and criminally charged, because it needs to set an example for people that you cannot just cut costs, because people will die. And it's horribly tragic.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, we all know what happens if you deregulate and you allow people to run their businesses or their companies the way that they see fit. Like if they have a bottom line, if they have a profit motive, they're gonna cut costs. And one of the ways of cutting costs is, maybe not doing the job properly or hiring professionals who are actually experts for what they're about to do.
Or putting off doing the job for another year or two.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hopefully that's a lesson that's learned from this. Although again, we don't know exactly what caused the fire.
You just watched the video from the Young Turks. Did you know that there's a live 2-hour show every day, and that if you're a member of the Young Turks, you can get that on demand anytime you want without ads? plus the post game just for members, plus Aggressive Progressives, plus Old School, plus so many other network shows. Go right now, tytnetwork.com/join.